Welcome to the Rhetoric of Racism, Week 1. I am Miandi Flowers-Brasher. I have a Master's of English with a specialization in rhetoric and composition. My research is on how racism, specifically racism in rhetoric, impacts Black populations in higher education. So, moving on to the next slide, I'm showing our reading list. This week, the reading was What is Rhetoric? And so I hope all of you have done the reading. If you haven't, now would be a great time to pull it up. You can find links to these readings in the pinned post on my profile. Moving on to the next slide. Here's our overview for Class 1. We have a foundational statement, key takeaways, and an optional reading for those of you who really like reading. Our foundational statement is, rhetoric is a tool. It is how you use it that makes it good, neutral, or bad. When we finish this class, I don't want you to come out of this going, all rhetoric is bad. Every time someone is trying to convince me of something, they have bad intentions. That is not how rhetoric works. Some key takeaways is most people do not know what rhetoric is or that they use it. Most people cannot identify examples of rhetoric in their own lives. Most people are susceptible to rhetorical influence by people with more education, experience, because they haven't been taught the need to question how the words are said, not just the obvious meaning. And our optional reading is Rhetoric for Dummies on Medium. Moving on to the next slide. What is rhetoric? Now, I know me reading all of these out may seem counterintuitive, but for our visually impaired folk, I want you to be able to enjoy this just like everybody else. So, the definition. Rhetoric refers to the study and uses of written, spoken, and visual language. It investigates how language is used to organize and maintain social groups, construct meanings and identities, coordinate behavior, mediate power, produce change, and create knowledge. From the reading, What is Rhetoric? In practice, rhetoric is using tone, pitch, body language, and the environment to convince others to believe what you want them to believe. From hemming and hawing over what to have for dinner to fighting over the current administration, it's all rhetoric. Going back to that definition, focus on construct meanings and identities, maintain social groups, coordinate behavior, mediate power. Rhetoric isn't just making an argument, it's communicating, it's bringing groups together. If you were ever on a team and the coach yelled, "Everybody over here," while that may not have seemed like rhetoric, that was rhetoric. An instruction was given and you had the choice to follow or not to follow. And the coach's tone, his authority, all of that impacted why you made the choice you did in that moment. So, in your life, have you ever wanted a friend to listen to you rant about something you know they don't care about? Have you ever then said, "Hey, want to listen to me rant for a moment?" Omitting the topic of your rant is a form of rhetoric. No, it's not manipulation in the malicious sense. It's a regular way of speaking and communicating that is accepted and understood by society. It's still rhetoric, though. Your friend may sigh and groan, but smile, and that communicates something. Or they'll give you a look, and that look tells you, "Don't try it." Their response is also rhetoric, and it influences how you continue your conversation. So, on the next slide, can I use rhetoric? You already do. Here are some examples, and for those who are visually impaired, I have included alternative text for this slide specifically in the bottom of the description. So our first meme is quite funny. A lot of us truly understand this, and when we think about the messaging that this is trying to communicate, we have resignment, we have frustration, we have maybe a little bit of annoyance. All of that can be communicated through the first meme. In the second meme, if you play video games, you've experienced this. The screenshot is amazing, and then once you turn on the game, you're like, wow, this interface is disgusting. I will never play this again. In showing, Squidward putting down a seat to get comfortable and then immediately walking away, that communicates something. It communicates frustration, disappointment. It communicates whether or not something is truly worth your time. Many of us who drive understand someone riding our butt on the road. And the third meme, when we see that arm with all of those veins and being super tense, that communicates stress. It communicates anger. All of these things are rhetoric. And the next meme is just a funny meme about clicking cookies and, Cookie Monster going fool because Cookie Monster doesn't share his cookies with anybody. The context in which you use these memes, the reason why you use these memes, have a message. Sometimes it's as simple as, this is funny and I want you to laugh too. But other times it can be a tongue-in-cheek commentary on the situation. It all depends on how you use it. So, how can rhetoric be racist? Anything can be racist if you try hard enough. That's mostly a joke. In reality, all tools have the potential for misuse. Rhetoric is a tool as much as a hammer is. So just because people can cause harm with a hammer, people can cause harm with rhetoric. Rhetoric, much like a hammer, is neither good nor bad. It's just how it's used that changes its impact. I've been making this argument since my undergraduate degree. I have fought with more than one rhetoric professor over why I consider rhetoric a tool instead of an art or a skill. But that's not what this is about. I just wanted to throw that in there because now I finally get to teach people my way of believing rhetoric works. So think back over your life. Have there ever been times where the words someone used, the order they used them, how they said or wrote them, or the timing of those words changed how the words impacted you? If yes, then you already know what it is like to experience rhetoric. Most people don't realize they're using it, and because of this, they may accidentally cause harm. Others not only know how to use it, but they intentionally use it to cause harm, knowing that their audience will not notice. In this class, we're focusing on the latter. When we think about rhetoric, there are pieces of rhetoric that you may have learned in school: logos, pathos, ethos. But something you don't learn in school is kairos. Kairos, spelled K-A-R-I-O-S, spelled K-A-I-R-O-S, is the application of time to rhetoric, to environment, to context. It is everything that's happening around the words you say. Many politicians are experts at rhetoric. People who work in publicity are trained to be experts at rhetoric. And there are plenty of politicians who are very bad at rhetoric. But because their cohort is more skilled, it is able to cover up the ways that they are poor. I'm sure you can think of a politician who said something that was really poorly designed at the time. And if they had said it a little earlier or said it a little later, it would have been fine. That's kairos. The ability to control for kairos can change everything in how you communicate. Moving on to the next slide. This is our final slide. your homework and reading reminder. Your homework this week is to reflect on your own rhetoric. How do you say things to your family and friends? Where are you putting the emphasis in your sentences? The goal isn't for you to obsess over how you say things. Rather, by being intentional and aware of how you speak and write, you take ownership and power over language. In addition, you gain a teensy-weensy bit more control over how others interpret what you say. Only a little, though. Impact is still, most of the time, important. But we'll discuss that in a few weeks. Something I don't want you to ever forget when considering rhetoric is that rhetoric is a way of trying to control someone's interpretation of what you say. Once the words leave your mouth, once that paper you're writing gets to its audience, you no longer have control over its interpretation. Someone may interpret the words you say in a way you completely didn't mean. Because we cannot control that, rhetoric is a way of having some control. It's the difference between asking your spouse to take out the trash after they've had a really bad day at work, or waiting 30 or 40 minutes for them to relax, calm down, maybe you listen to their day, and then asking. You're likely to get two very different responses. That is using rhetoric, using your environment, using your context clues, using your tone of voice, using your timing to help control for how people understand what you say. Don't forget next week's reading. I have the link listed here. I will also have it in the description. I hope all of you enjoyed today's class, and feel free to rewind and re-listen to whatever you need to. See you next week.